big house. This is one of our display houses for our retail customers, and also again a reservoir for our stock material. This house was built in 1938, or excuse me, in 1940. It was a salvage from the 38 hurricane, and it got the name Big House because at the time it was one of the largest greenhouses that the family had put up. It's a glass greenhouse, and the key to what the Big House does for us is we maintain this house very cold. The night temperatures in the wintertime usually run around 40, 42, sometimes into the high 30s. And what that does is that gives us an environment where plants that actually need the cold in order to flower and to put them into a sort of semi-dormant state will work for us and come into bloom. So this is March. We're almost at the 1st of April, and it's been a warm year this year, so things are much farther ahead, mainly because we haven't been able to keep the cold temperatures as long, so things are a little bit beyond what they normally would do. But for the Big House, spring really arrives usually the first week or two of February and runs on until the middle of April. And that's when everything comes into flower. And if we walk down here, I can show you, like we have camellias that are in flower. Those are plants that actually need a chill in order for them to bloom. This is one of my favorites right here, which really isn't found very often in the trade. This is Hermannia verticillata, or honeybells, and it is one of the most fragrant spring blooming plants that we grow. And the key to having this flower is that you have to give it a chill. As long as temperatures are below 60 degrees at night on a consistent basis, we preferably like to keep it a little cooler than that, it'll never go out of bloom. And so if we have a long cold spring, it will come into flower. So the days shorten, the temperature chills down, bud formation starts, and as long as it stays cool, this plant comes into flower. And it makes a great hanging basket. You see this is a young one. We also create larger specimens of this. The key to it is the cold, but it's also high light. So this is not a plant to be grown under diminished light conditions. You need very strong light for this. This was grown under the full sun of glass. Not necessarily a great house plant unless you've got that cold unheated room or that cold sun room that you can grow it in. This is another spring bloomer that we've grown for many years. This is Tecamenthe dendrophyllum, and it is a climber in the Bignoniaceae family, and it puts out, I can show you, this is unusual to have so many blooms on a small basket like this. Usually it's a pretty heavy climber. But you can see here it puts out these large clusters of flowers, and this is not temperature sensitive as much as it's day length sensitive, so it always comes into flower for us in the springtime or in late winter. We also have another large plant of this in the ground. But it's an interesting plant, and you can see that you can get that many flowers off of that size of a plant. This had been climbing around and it was wrapped back together just to contain it. So we have our scented geraniums are in here. This is a good house to grow them in. You can see they like it cool and they like it sunny. And this is our collection. This is a collection that my mother had a lot of interest in and put together over the years. And we're still adding to it. But basically the Logee collection is still with us. This is an interesting plant right here. This is Michelia or Michelia, however you want to pronounce it, Figo, which is the banana shrub. And you can see the flower right there. This is in the Magnolia family. This plant has been here at least 25 years, or maybe even longer. It's one of our original plants of this clone. It's a little different than most of the Michelias or Michelia figos that are grown in the trade. It has a broader leaf to it. It seems to flower better for us in containers, but it smells like bananas, and it smells like bananas only when the sun is on it. Now this is early morning, the fragrance hasn't come out yet, but by midday, by noon, and into the afternoon, if the sun is out, this whole area will smell like a banana. Interesting enough, it is a magnolia, and the flowers are very short-lived, one day. But you can see the buds coming on this, so day after day as we go through the spring, And into the summertime, this will be covered with flowers. And most of the year it blooms. There's periods during the late fall and into early winter when there are no flowers on it. But usually, the interesting thing about this clone is that usually you can be getting flowers pretty much throughout the year. This is, in this house we grow Brugmansias. This is Charles Grimaldi. We have a fairly extensive collection of them. And some of these are, as you can see, this is pretty dense right here. Some of these are planted in the ground. Charles Grimaldi has always been a good bloomer for us. Probably not the best, but it does flower over a long period of time. I don't think there's been a day that this plant hasn't been in flower as long as I didn't cut it back, so it's pretty continuous for us. This is another interesting plant. This is the Calamondin orange, which is a very prolific ornamental orange. You can see the fruit on it, and you can see the flower right here, and it has very high fragrance. It's a kumquat hybrid that is actually sour when you eat it. You can eat it. I mean, it's perfectly edible, but there's not much sugar to it. But the interesting thing is you see how much fruit it produces, which goes back to the kumquat, but also that the fruit hangs on for a very long time. So it makes a great container plant, great potted plant. This is a large tree that's planted in the back of all the shrubbery in the ground. It's been there as long as I can remember. But it does make a great indoor plant for citrus, ornamentally generally. This is our Euryops pectinatus, which is a daisy, silver gray foliage, commonly used throughout the West as landscaping plants. It takes quite a bit of cold. It can take it down into the 20s without much harm. Flowers in the wintertime, so again, shortened day length of what initiates the flowers on it, and it tolerates the cool temperatures here. Our Leptospermum hedge, and this is the Leptospermum scoparium, which is the New Zealand tea. It is also the flower that makes the Manuka honey, which has high antibacterial properties to it and is on the market at very high prices. It's a winter bloomer for us. You can see this wall of it right here. We shave this back so that it doesn't come out, so you can walk through this. This plant originally, when I was in my late teens, was in one of the other houses, and my brother and I dug it out of the bench. It had rooted into the bench. It was probably 3 or 4 feet tall, and we moved it in here because it needed more room. We set it down in the pot, and by the time I got back from school a number of years later, it rooted in and taken hold, and so it's been here ever since. But it makes a great standard. The key to growing this is to have an acidic soil. It doesn't like lime. It'll get really funky if you do that, and never let it go severely dry because that'll take it out. So, and you got to ease off on the fertilizer. But if you combine those 3 things together, it's a very easy plant to grow. And of course, this is used in the West as a hedge. Many types of Leptospermum are used as hedging. This particular one has sort of a semi-double flower to it, so it's very ornamental.